So we are done with the people running the corporation. Alam na natin kung ano yung extent ng kanilang mga powers. Alam na natin kung ano yung mga obligasyon nila. We know how to hold them accountable. We know how to remove them. We know that they are not employees and therefore they can be removed as a general rule without cause. No? We know how to vote directors. So now we go to from these people who run the corporation to the people who keep the corporation alive. The stockholder. So what are the rights and obligations of a stockholder? A stockholder has these basic rights. A stockholder has the right to participate in the management of a corporation, whether directly or indirectly. Stockholders have, as a rule, a right to vote. Kung naalala ninyo, di ba, in the exercise of most specific powers, di ba, there has to be a concurrence of 2/3 of the stockholders holding or owning a majority of the outstanding capital stock. So stockholders tend to have a say, no? Tend to be given a say. And how do they exercise that? Through their vote. Now, stockholders also have a right to remove directors. Diba? Base doon sa mga napasadahan natin kanina. They can file certainly a complaint, no, with the SEC regarding disqualifications that did not prevent the director from running, or disqualifications that were discovered only later on after the director assumed office. Now, a stockholder also has proprietary rights, no? The right to be given dividends, the so-called appraisal right, the right to issuance of a stock certificate, which I showed you earlier, proportionate participation in the distribution of assets once a corporation is being liquidated, the right to the transfer of stocks in corporate books, and what we call preemptive right, no? Which I believe I already mentioned earlier. So, like a partner, a stockholder also has a right to inspect books and records of the corporation. A stockholder likewise has the right to be furnished with the most recent financial statements or financial report. Like, for example, no? Let me just stop sharing, and then I will be showing you a video regarding a financial report. A financial report of a certain company, no? A certain company named Bandai Namco. Let me just prepare, no? And then I will share my screen again. I am sharing sound. Now, I want you to listen, no? I think it's full volume already.
Alright, what's going on, guys? We've been talking about Elden Ring DLC for quite a while now. It's one of those things that is probably gonna happen. Everybody's kind of in agreement that this is something that we will see. It's not really a question of if, but rather what kind of DLC. And we found some really good hints as to what that could be. But to further reinforce that question of if, we do have some more evidence that we're gonna dive into today. Now, we're starting to get to that time of year where video game companies are putting out their investors reports to showcase their performance for the year and educate the investors on their outlooks and plans for the next fiscal year. And this is an absolutely golden time to dig into the new info and speculate about what they could be planning. Now, to keep in mind, these things things are not written for us, the public. These investors' reports go out to the shareholders and discuss all facets of revenue for the parent company. Now, the one we're going to look at today is not From Software's. Today, we're going to be diving into Katakawa's, their parent company. And I know we got a lot of new people here that aren't experienced with how From Software works, so let me break it down for you. From Software, as a gaming studio, is owned by a parent company called Katakawa. And From Software is only one of many of all the different revenue streams that make up their profits. However, even though their investors' reports contain everything that goes on in their business, it's still a great tool to figure out where From Software is and what they're planning on doing for the future. So let's break it down. I don't think it's a secret to anyone that Elden Ring has been the most successful From Software game ever. Everybody's talking about it, everybody's playing it, but now we have the data of just how well it's done. In just over a month, Elden Ring has sold over 13.4 million copies, making it by a huge margin the most successful month From Software has ever had.
So all right, let us pause it right there. So I think I said Bandai Namco earlier, no? So yeah, my bad. This is Kadokawa, the parent company of the gaming company named From Software. From Software, for context, created a number of games, role-playing / action games named Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, as well as Demon's Souls, and more recently, this game called Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. I think FromSoft also created Bloodborne. And most recently, only this year, mind you, they released, in cooperation with international distributor and fellow gaming company Bandai Namco, they released this game called Elden Ring. Now, as mentioned in this video, Elden Ring is FromSoft's biggest game ever. So as you can see, this is a screen grab. This screen grab right here, this is a portion of the financial report, or what how the guy in the video called it, the investor's report. So as he mentioned, this document is not really for public consumption, but is a sort of guidance for stockholders in order for them to know the prospects of the company during the past fiscal year and the accompanying forecast as to how the company would be performing in the year ahead. So makikita ninyo dito, pinakita gaano kataas yung percentage ng net sales ng laro, no? Became a big hit beyond expectations. Cumulative worldwide shipments surpassed 13.4 million, including domestic sales of over 1 million units. All right. So profit increased thanks to contributions from Elden Ring. Take a look at the operating profit increase. Plus 89.5, almost 90%, almost 100% increase. So, mga ganitong technicalities yung makikita. So, obviously, it's not for the uninitiated. But if you're in the realm of investing, no, if you're into stocks, you would appreciate this kind of a financial report. Parang dyaryo mo na yan, you would be guided na, oh, maganda yung performance ng kumpanya o ng korporasyon na pinagbilhan ko ng stock. At mukhang mas maganda rin ang outlook in the future. No? Now, let us watch a bit more.
Leading to a net sales increase of 17.2% for the fiscal year. And just to put that into context with the past From Software releases, it took Dark Souls 3 over 4 years to reach only 10 million sales. And it makes Elden Ring the fastest selling title from a Japanese studio other than Nintendo. So if you don't think this sent a message to Katakawa and From Software that they need to make more Elden Ring content, then I don't know what to tell you. They were probably throwing a party over there. No, I promise we'll get to the line that has me excited about DLC, but there are a few more points I want to talk about in this. In games for PCs and consoles, the company will leverage the brand power derived from its record-breaking new hit Elden Ring, and its strong development capability in efforts to produce its next major title, whilst at the same time continuing to engage in the group original development of series titles and contract development for other companies. Now, a line right there confirms some series titles and
Let's
contract...
go back. O, ito. Kasama din dun sa mga investment or financial reports, no? itong mga forecast na to, like I mentioned a while ago. So it's not just the prospects at present, but also future possible development. So what will the corporation do? As a matter of assurance, di ba? You assure the stockholders na we are in a good place at the moment. Just making it clear, ha? Good place is different from better place. Yung he or she is at a better place right now. Yun yung sinasabi para sa patay. Okay? But when you are in a good place or I'm at a good place mentally, ibig sabihin nun, you're feeling good. Okay? Just in case, kasi it's been a point of debate in the past leading to the elections, just so you know. Okay? Iba ang good place sa better place. So anyway, I digress. This is a forecast. So, things will only get better from here for Kadokawa, no? Na the company will leverage the brand power derived from its record-breaking new hit Elden Ring and its strong development capability. So merong assurances na ganito. So I think that would be enough, no, for this video. Let us go back to our presentation. So while waiting, no, habang yan, teka, hold on. There we go. So karapatan ng stockholder, in fact, one of the basic rights niya ay mabigyan ng financial statements na to. So as we can imply doon sa video, napansin nyo that there was a mention that it was a quarterly report, no? So merong mga corporation na nagre-release ng financial statement o financial report every quarter. Now, some other companies might adopt a different practice. Pwedeng biannual, pwedeng annually, depende naman yun. But at any rate, kahit na iba-iba man yung scheme nila or yung way nila in order to inform their investors, their stockholders, kung ano man ang pinaka-recent na ganap, no? Karapatan ng stockholder na magmarites sa kung ano mang nangyayari sa kumpanya. And that is more often than not in the form of these financial statements or financial reports. Anyway, on the matter of Elden Ring, yeah, I've been playing it in what free time I have. It's a really great game. Anyway, another basic right that a stockholder has is to recover stocks unlawfully sold for delinquent payment of subscription. We will be getting into this in a bit. Meron tayong mga tinatawag na watered stocks. So karapatan ng stockholder na kapag merong stocks na hindi naibenta for a price na hindi naman yun talaga yung price ng stock. Sabihin natin for a lower price or what have you. The stockholders have the right to recover those stocks. Okay? And next, a stockholder also has the right to file what we call individual suits, representative suits, and derivative suits. So let's get right onto it. An individual suit or an individual action is one brought by the shareholder in their own name against the corporation when a wrong is directly inflicted against them. Naaalala ninyo yung pinag-aralan nating case noong nakaraan, yung case filed against Film Life, no? Na nagsampa yung isa sa kanilang mga administrative officers na nilay off nila because of an amendment to what? To the bylaws, di ba? Or to the articles of the incorporation rather. That is an individual action. That guy, that old corporate officer, no? He filed that case in his own name kasi siya yung naagrabyado. Siya ang nagsampa ng kaso against whom? Against which? The corporation. That class is an individual action. Next, add a representative suit or representative action. A representative action is one brought by the stockholder on behalf of themselves and all other stockholders similarly situated when a wrong is committed against a group of stockholders. Remember my story about One Lightning, or actually kahit na anong MLM company or corporation na makikita ninyo sa TV, hindi lang naman isa yung nagrereklamo. At hindi lang naman isa yung nagsasampa ng kaso, whether it's before the regular courts or the SEC. If you notice, no, isang grupo sila. what these people tend to do, sila mga nabiktima, mga bumili ng stock dito sa mga surreptitious, mga questionable na mga kumpanya na to. What they do is not to come out in the open alone. Kasi syempre, mas madali silang ma-negative PR nitong mga manggagancho na ito, no? So what they do, nag-uusap-usap yan sila among themselves. Nagkikwentuhan, ano yung ginawa sa'yo? Ito yung ginawa sa akin. Pinangakuan ako na yung pera ko, I'll just invest, no? I'll just invest 5,000 pesos or 10,000 pesos, tapos magiging 100,000 pesos. That was the promise. Binigyan ako ng mga produkto na sinasabi na kayang-kaya ko ibenta, na makipag-usap lang ako at maghanap ng mga downline, yada, yada, yada. So they exchange stories, they exchange experiences, and later on, this group finds the collective strength to file an action together. So, as a group, they file a case against this unscrupulous corporation. So, that class is a representative action. They file a suit in court on behalf of themselves and other stockholders in a similar situation against a corporation, no? When a wrong is committed against them as a group, no? A common injury, kumbaga. And finally, yung derivative suit o derivative action. This is kind of special. You will see, no? A derivative action is one brought by one or more stockholder or stockholders or members in the name and on behalf of the corporation to redress wrongs committed against it, or to protect or vindicate corporate rights whenever the officials of the corporation refuse to sue or are the ones to be sued or has control of the corporation. Nangyayari din to minsan sa mga MLM, no? Na kung saan dati the corporation was legitimate, no? Tapos unti-unti na-infiltrate ng mga directors na hindi maayos ang attitude, na mayroong mga planong hindi kagandahan para sa korporasyon. So what started as a humble retail corporation, no? Corporation engaged in the retail business, unti-unti siyang napalitan as a direct selling or direct marketing business. So ngayon, no? Itong isa sa mga stockholders na hindi na biktima nitong bagong board na to na nag-o-offer na gagawin nating 50,000 yung 5,000 mo. Nakita niya kung paano unti-unting nagoyo yung kanyang mga kasama, no? Unti-unti niyang na-realize na parang mayroong mali. Ang problema, no? Ang problema hindi naman niya gusto na sirain or ipasara yung korporasyon, because he has been there since the corporation's early days, no? Back when the corporation was new, bumili siya ng stock, he took a risk, and he is one of the long time stockholders talaga, long time investors. Ayaw naman niya na isara yung korporasyon, and he wants to preserve the corporation's good name. Now, he wants to sue, however, the members of the board of directors. Dahil sila, sa kanyang worry, to his mind, itong board na to, sila ang punot dulo nung lahat ng mga kalokohan na nangyari. Okay? So now, what this interested stockholder can do is to file a derivative action on behalf of the corporation against the members of the board. Because of course, the members of the board are in control of the corporation. Okay? So, what are the requisites of a derivative action? First, of course, the plaintiff must be a stockholder or member at the time the acts or transactions subject of the suit occurred, and at the time the suit was filed. Next, there must be an exertion of all reasonable efforts to exhaust all remedies available under the articles, under the bylaws, under applicable laws or rules, etc. So, take note, a derivative action must be considered an action of last resort. Kailangan nasuyod mo na lahat ng mga pwede mong possible remedy sa articles of incorporation, sa bylaws kung merong applicable laws or issuances ang SEC, kailangan na pag-aralan mo na siya, And either nasubukan mo siya and you failed, or you studied it and you realize that the remedy will not work. Next, there must be no appraisal rights available. We will get into that shortly. And finally, the suit must not be a nuisance or harassment suit. Now, sinabi, no, as one of the requisites of a derivative action that there must be no appraisal right available. What then is an appraisal right? An appraisal right, no, by appraisal right, we refer to the right of a stockholder to withdraw from the corporation and demand payment of the fair value of their shares after dissenting from certain corporate acts involving fundamental changes in corporate structure. So that is the appraisal right. Basically, think of it as an escape button. No? Alam niyo yung eksena sa pelikula na merong mga fast cars tapos meron ka lang pipindutin tapos i-eject yung upuan mo na parang rocket, no? That is a way to escape from, for example, you are being hostage while driving, no? A gun aimed at your head and then you press the eject button and poof, di ba? You're gone. Parang ganun ang appraisal right in principle, no? It is the right of a stockholder to opt out after the stockholder expressed disagreement with a certain action of the corporation. So for example, ano ba tong mga corporate acts na pwedeng maging basis ng appraisal right? Number 1, extension or reduction of the corporate term. Number 2, change in the rights of the stockholders. Number 3, investment of corporate funds in another business or purpose. Number 4, sale or disposition of all or substantially all corporate assets. And then merger or consolidation. What is the common denominator of all these situations? Lahat ito ay mayroong drastic na effect sa corporation. Either mababawasan or hahaba yung life ng corporation, magbabago yung karapatan ng mga stockholders which might have a negative effect, the investment of corporate funds in another business which may possibly have the inklings of fraud. Bakit hindi related sa business ng korporasyon yung pagfa-funnel ng pera? The sale or disposition of all or substantially all corporate assets, because number 1, di ba, this would possibly contravene the trust fund doctrine. Paano na yung creditors ng korporasyon? If we dispose of all or substantially all the assets of the corporation, and then merger or consolidation, which might cause the extinguishment of the corporate existence of the corporation. No, we will discuss merger and consolidation later. So seryoso lahat yan. So what are the requisites for the exercise of an appraisal right? Aside from, of course, the happening of one of those scenarios, the stockholder must have voted against the proposed action. Kasi mapapansin ninyo, lahat ng to, kinakailangan ng boto ng stockholders, di ba? All of those, pati merger or consolidation, mamaya, aaralin natin. So, the stockholder must have dissented to the action. Then the stockholder must have submitted a written demand on the corporation within 30 days after the vote para mabigyan siya ng kanyang fair amount corresponding to his stocks. Now, the fair amount must be agreed upon, but if there is no agreement within 60 days from the date of the vote, the fair value of the stocks na makukuha ng stockholder in the exercise of his or her appraisal right must be determined or shall be determined by a majority of 3 disinterested persons. So bubuo ng parang team, ng fact-finding team. So 3 ang miyembro ng team na to. Isa na inonominate ng stockholder exercising the appraisal right. Isa na inonominate ng korporasyon. Tapos yung 2 nominee na yon, they in turn will nominate another person. Yun yung 3rd person that will complete the team. Now, next, no? What are the obligations of a stockholder? A stockholder is liable to the corporation for unpaid subscription. Siyempre, di ba? As we have established, I think rather clearly, ang shares of stock ay binibili. It has to be paid for valuable consideration, for money, no? So, kung hindi mo pabayad yung shares of stock na meron ka, obligasyon mong bayaran yon sa korporasyon. Now, if the unpaid subscription bears interest, then you are also liable for that interest. Of course, if the imposition of interest is required by the bylaws in the first place. Next, no, you are also liable to the creditors of the corporation for unpaid subscriptions. Next, no, a stockholder is liable for what we call watered stock, which I referred to once kanina. I think after this slide, we will be dealing with watered stock already. A stockholder is liable for dividends unlawfully paid. Remember quasi contracts, di ba? Ano ang ginagawa kapag mayroong ibinigay sa iyo wrongfully? Remember solution indebiti, di ba? What is the obligation that arises by virtue of solution indebiti when something is wrongfully given to you, which is not meant to you and is meant in fact for another? The obligation is of course to return, right? I hope you still remember that. And then a stockholder is liable for the failure to create a corporation. Diba? In fact, diba, non-use of corporate charter is actually a ground for dissolution, as we will be seeing later on. So what is watered stock? Investopedia defines watered stock as an illegal scheme to defraud investors by offering shares at deceptively high prices. Now, watered stock is issued at a higher value than it is actually worth. Okay? In the Philippines, watered stock is defined this way. Watered stocks are those issued not in exchange for its equivalent, and the issuance of such stocks are prohibited. Watered stocks in the Philippines include these things. Stock issued without consideration, as in walang bayad. Binigay sa isang investor ng walang bayad, what we call bonus share. Now, watered stocks also include those issued as fully paid when the corporation has actually received a sum of money lesser than the share's part or issued value, also called discounted share. Next, no, stocks issued for consideration other than actual cash. So basically, ang kapalit, ang pinambayad ay property or services, and worse, those properties or services, ang fair valuation nila ay less than the par or issued value ng stock. So, hindi na nga pera yung binayad, hindi pa kasing halaga nung talagang value ng share of stock. And then next, no, stocks issued as a stock dividend without sufficient earnings to justify it. Kasi of course, di ba, a dividend, the issuance of a dividend must be supported by earnings. Hindi ka pwedeng magpakalat ng dividendo nang hindi naman nag-earn ng revenue yung korporasyon. Okay? Now, what is the effect of watered stock? Directors or officers na nag-consent to the issuance of watered stock are solidarily liable to the corporation for the difference in value. So, sabihin natin, 5 directors ang bumoto in favor of the issuance of watered stock. The corporation, no, can go against any of those directors and then claim the entirety of the monetary amount due. Okay? Kasi nga solidary ang liability nila.